Hello, everybody. Good to see you. How you doing? So, I have finally finished the Cult of the Lamb. There are a handful of things I still need to do, a couple more achievements that need to be begotten, a couple more unlocks, but broadly speaking, I've completed the game. And I'm here to tell you what is frankly so wonderful about this nice little $20-some game that I enjoyed myself with. So, let's begin, shall we? So, Cult of the Lamb is a very interesting game in the sense that it combines two very different gameplay styles together into one really fun game that I didn't think they'd mesh together. You have a sort of sim-like village management, town management sim, paired with what can be best described as a Binding of Isaac-esque, Dead Cells loot system-esque type of roguelike game. With a surprising amount of build variety between the different enemies, the characters, the weapons, and the different setups. It truly is a really, really interesting thing to see. As far as the combat in the roguelike goes, this is, for me, something that I think that is done very, very well, but I don't feel is deep enough for me, like similar to how Binding of Isaac is, for me to spend hundreds of hours playing it, completely losing myself. That doesn't mean it's a bad game, though. It absolutely is a wonderful game, and the variety in enemies and the variety in encounters is really, really cool. You get skills by using these things called tarot cards. These tarot cards can be gotten from you start with, I think, either, depending on your skills, you either start with one that's a specific heart one that you pick up in the beginning, or you pick them up by encountering an NPC at a hut who will just give you a tarot card, a pick between two of them. And these tarots will determine how your run goes. You can also get something called the Fleece of Fate or the White Fleece. The different fleeces augmenting like how your runs go. Some double damage, some increase the amount of damage you can do while doubling the amount of damage you take. Others increase the amount of curses, which are your special attacks, things of that nature. But for example, as far as the tarot goes, the White Fleece will give you 4 at the start of the run, and then that's it. As far as the weapons go, you have different classes. You have the small, medium, heavy, and super heavy weapons, which are denoted by the dagger, the sword, the axes, and the hammers in order of in ascending order of slowness. The hammer is by far hits the hardest and is very good at completely quashing bosses if you have found a way to get your health up through both more red hearts, more blue hearts, and more black hearts. Players of the Binding of Isaac will know what those means. For those who don't know what those means, red hearts are like your native health that can be refilled. Blue hearts are health pieces that you pick up that are temporary. And black hearts are hearts that are like blue hearts but have the added benefit of damaging everything in the room when it is you are damaged and that heart loses its values. But when you get when you are done with your current level, you get to a screen that is essentially like a web with different options. Swords generally denote combat. A little house icon will generally denote a shop, and these will usually have banners underneath with other symbols telling you what it is. A heart on top of a heart with a sword means you get healed for double but take double damage. Things of that nature. You also can find resources in these dungeons that you can use to build up your village, which we will get to momentarily. The bosses are really interesting. There's 5 of them. There's these... I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm going to keep the story relatively simple for those watching on YouTube. The gameplay in the background is from the third world, but it's relatively spoiler-free as far as any actual, story elements goes, if that's important to you. There's 5 bosses. It's interesting, and as someone like myself who is fairly decent at roguelike dungeon crawlers like these, as well as micromanaging town builders. I'm fairly decent at these, so it took me approximately 13 hours total to get through the lion's share of the content. Now, onto the city builder things, though. So the town builders. You remember saying earlier how I was talking about how you would need more health, like if you were going to do a hammer tank build, or if you were going to be a little lighter on your feet and use a dagger, which is faster, or the sword, or so on and so forth. This is kind of where the you can pick your poison. You can really just sustain your village through constant new members and just getting all of the resources you need through the dungeons, or you can completely ignore the dungeons except when you need like either new followers or bones for rituals, which we'll get to, and you will do it occasionally and spend most of your time micromanaging your village. Both of these are fantastic additions, and by upgrading your village, you get certain other perks. Some perks you get through a dungeon, through killing bosses, like the Resurrection Circle, which allows you to sacrifice a follower to continue the run you were on, or other things like just PvEing, the questing, in the village management system with doing all the quests and the fetch quests. You can unlock new fleeces, which will allow you to have new powers in the dungeons. There's a plethora of there's two trees that you generally will worry about. There's your combat tree, which you get by doing sermons every single day in your church, and then there's another one, which is your trek tree, by collecting devotion, divine inspiration, which you get from your followers. The other thing I want to say about these two systems is that they're very, very fun. Like, once if you just spend all your time like I did micromanaging your village, what ends up happening is you end up maxing out your combat and tech trees over time, and then you would normally games would just like not have an alternative for you for doing that, which is a real bummer. But generally what the Cult of the Lamb does is it converts what you're doing to other resources. There's generally a few management resources you want to take care of. There's your gold, there is your follower loyalty, there is your devotion, and then there is your the prayer. The prayer is how you upgrade your combat. Your devotion is how you upgrade your tech trees. Your loyalty is how you upgrade your followers, which when they max out and level up, you get a bunch of devotion, which continues to help your tech trees. And then your gold is how you basically finance everything else that isn't from a base level. You do need things like wood and stone and some refined materials to do other things and unlock certain other things, but the base of it all is really just gold. And so as you complete your divine inspiration, as you complete X and Y and Z, what ends up happening is you end up getting the luxury of getting to swap things out. So originally, when I would do a sermon, it would upgrade my combat tree. Once I maxed out my combat tree, the sermons just upgraded my followers' loyalty, which then when they went through, it upgraded my divine and my devotion. And once all my tech trees were updated, both of them turned into just giving me gold, in which basically means I'm stacked for life. As far as the actual tech trees go themselves for the building, you can build elaborate farms to make sure that your followers are fed. You can build refineries to build refined goods, as well as turn gold nuggets you find out in the world into coin that you can then use when you're in a pinch. You can build totems to allow followers who are not worshippers. You have two types of cult members: false worshippers and workers, to pray and give you devotion as well. You have different levels of bedding, so people have housing to stay in, all the way up to the best one, which never has beds that never break, as well as giving you devotion too. You have offerings, where people will find stuff and you'll get a random assortment of goods joining you there. You'll have a cooking thing, and there's a cooking mini game which will allow you to turn the food that you've harvested into different types of food that have different robust effects on your users. There's fishing mini games with an NPC that's a subquest that'll allow you to get upgrade materials for your fleeces, and which is a pretty fun too, because you do need the fish for certain recipes and things of that nature. There's a ton of little quests out here with different levels of depth. You can buy a lot of your blueprints, you can buy a lot of your turrets. You can get in the dungeons, but you can also use the gold you've accrued to buy these things. So it gives you the luxury of an option of not having to, as someone who doesn't enjoy dungeon delving, to do that. And like I said earlier, the reverse is true for the dungeon delving. Cult of the Lamb it doesn't have a whole ton of content, but it doesn't feel barren. I spent $20 on this game and got 13 hours of enjoyment nonstop from it. And I gotta say, that's a great fucking deal, and I really liked it. The art style is adorable, the music is lovely, the characters are interesting, they bounce between macabre, terrifying, and adorable, painfully adorable, and it's all over the place, and I am generally quite happy with the product that I was gotten. I have no qualms about buying any expansion that comes with it. I know that the developer has said that there is more things on the pipeline, and frankly, at the end of the day, I am quite happy with this product that I've spent money on. I encourage you guys to give it a shot. If you like The Binding of Isaac, if you like Stardew Valley, if you like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, if you like Dead Cells, if you like Binding of Isaac, if you like any of these games, you'll like this. And even if you don't like the other games I mentioned from the other genres, you will still like this. There is something for this. Brings the roguelike community and the Animal Crossing farm building community together in a really interesting way. And also, if you were some type of scene kid back in the early 2000s, you'd probably like this too. Regardless, thank you so much for listening and listening this on the podcast and watching this on YouTube. I appreciate all of the patrons that support me on my Patreon at patreon.com/HImedia, all one string, including Reed Savage, Mike Nicely, PT Sean, Oni, Top Hatter, American Topsy, Anthony J. Lopez, and the love of my life, Metabuzi. Please consider supporting for as little as supporting the show. It helps a ton. And it costs as little as $1 a month. But thank you so much for getting to the end of this review of this wonderful little game, Cult of the Lamb. I had so much fun with this. In fact, I'm even going to probably miss a bus trying to record this episode. But by God, I loved it. And I really, really, really think you're going to love it too. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. I should be live. I'm live most days at around 6 p.m., and I usually will have a live stream set up on YouTube ahead of time, so you guys can check that out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go buy this game. It's wonderful, and the developers support it. The developers deserve your support, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.